Okay, let's talk about application-centric strategy. Its name pretty much tells us what this strategy is all about. Focusing on application security, but putting much more focus during development. Why is this important? Well, you wouldn't want to just create an application and straight away publish it without performing any type of security checks on it. These checks should be performed during development multiple times until the team is certain that no vulnerabilities are present. This strategy requires more money, of course, but that is only if we consider that your application never gets compromised. If it does get compromised because you haven't implemented any security checks during development, then it might cost you a whole lot more compared to if you just implemented security strategies properly. So instead of just a person or a company or a smaller team, just creating the application and straight putting it out on the open for people to use, they should slow down, and at the every important step of the application production, they should perform a security check. Usually these checks are performed on the application code itself, seeing if there are any bugs or buffer overflows or incorrectly implemented functions. There are many things that the development team should consider checking, and not just inside the application, but also the environment to where you are deploying the application. There are other advanced things to check, such as perhaps different libraries or APIs that you are using. Your code might be bug-free, but if you import a library, for example, that has a vulnerable function, and you call that function inside of your code, well, then your code also has a vulnerability that origins from that library. Few things that the development team should add during production is static code analysis, which is done multiple times and not just once. A threat model is also needed, and it's important to perform final checks before the application is put out to public, since testing the final product is most important, because only then is application complete. Penetration tests come in handy here, as they are used to discover vulnerabilities and then patch them. A few downsides or disadvantages of these strategies are that its business value is hard to prove. While all of this sounds good, you have to convince the company to grant funds in order for security practices to come in. Someone who is not from security branch might not understand the importance of these testings performed before the application is put out, and therefore might not want to invest too much into it. And these other two we already mentioned, which are developers have to produce vulnerability-free source code, which is hard to do, especially if the code is larger. And also there is always a possible threat from third-party libraries that we import into our code. Nonetheless, this would be short theory behind another cybersecurity strategy, and as with all the others, this one too should be combined with other strategies for maximum security.